So, an NYU law student lost his post-grad job offer over their statement blaming Israel for the Hamas attacks, firm says. So let's see here. A New York University law student who published a statement condemning Israel for Hamas's attack has lost, I'm not sure why they're using the word there. It's one person, so it's not there. Has lost, I would say, his job offer at Winston Strawn, the law firm said on Tuesday. Today, Winston Strawn learned that a former summer associate published certain inflammatory comments regarding Hamas's recent terrorist attack on Israel and distributed it to the NYU Student Bar Association, the firm wrote in a statement on X, formerly known as Twitter. These recent comments are profoundly in conflict with Winston Strawn's values as a firm. Accordingly, the firm has rescinded the law student's offer of employment, Winston Strawn added. The firm, which is based in New York, did not name the student. However, its statement comes after a Monday newsletter message from the president of the NYU Student Bar Association, Rainer Workman, went viral for blaming Israel for the October 7 attacks. Israel bears full responsibility for this tremendous loss of life, Workman wrote. This regime of state-sanctioned violence created the conditions that made resistance necessary. I will not condemn Palestinian resistance, the end of quote. The Bar Association president continued on to condemn apartheid, settler colonialism, military occupation, and the violence of obfuscating genocide as a complex issue. Palestine will be free, the letter said at the end. Workman's LinkedIn account, which is now deleted, you would think that somebody in a professional, like that, right? Where you want jobs, you want everybody to see who you are, you would have a LinkedIn account, right? This person deleted the LinkedIn. Wow. Which is now deleted. Listed experience as a summer associate at Winston Strawn, per Reuters. In a Tuesday statement, NYU School of Law Dean Troy McKenzie said Workman's message wasn't representative of the school management views on the horrific conflict in Israel and Gaza. This message was not from NYU School of Law as an institution and does not speak for the leadership of the law school, McKenzie wrote. It certainly does not express my own views because I condemn the killing of civilians and acts of terrorism as always reprehensible. Representatives for Winston Strawn and NYU did not immediately respond to requests for comments sent outside regular business hours. Hamas launched a series of surprise attacks and rocket strikes along the Israel-Gaza border on October 7, killing 1,200 people and injuring another 3,000, per an Israel Defense Forces spokesperson. Okay, so they want to poll here. How appropriate or inappropriate do you think it is for a law firm to rescind an offer of employment to a student over these remarks? Okay, so obviously this is a young guy, very impressionable, sees what's going on in the world, and he decided he's going to take a stand. He took a very strong stand that cost him a lucrative job, probably put an albatross around his neck for a long, long time, which is not good because, you go to law school, you go to especially a prestigious law school, spend a lot of time there, probably spend a lot of money, who knows, and then you make a comment because, you studied law. And if you study law, I'm sure you studied the American Constitution, the First Amendment, the right to free speech, and all that stuff. And then you make a comment, and you all of a sudden you're excoriated because they're saying, "Wait a minute now, you don't have the right to talk like that because what you're saying is reprehensible." They're not really saying what you're saying is not true. They're saying what you're saying is reprehensible, and it shouldn't be. Because I think what this guy was trying to say is that you have both bad people on both ends. That's what it comes down to, really, right? They do bad things. They all do bad things. You have the Israelis going in with their forces in the West Bank. From time to time, not too long ago, they went into a mosque. I think that's what probably triggered the Hamas. They went into a mosque. They beat up some Palestinian with like billy clubs and so forth. You can see them beating the hell out of these people. Now we know that here in America, churches are considered like sanctuary or religious places, right? The police aren't supposed to go into like a church, a mosque, a synagogue, and beat the hell out of somebody. That's not supposed to happen. Even universities too. They're supposed to run into a university and do that. I remember years ago there was a woman. She was an illegal alien, and ICE was out to get her, and she ran into like a church. And she remained in there, I think, for some years in that church, because they didn't want to cross into the church. That's the kind of respect you have for things like religious institution, whether it's a mosque or so forth. But in the West Bank, they went into the mosque, and this is what Hamas claims that triggered them, whether it's true or not. It's your take on that. That triggered them. They went into the mosque and they beat up people badly in the mosque, a place that people are supposed to go in to worship and so forth. People were beaten. So that's a stain in them right there. And then what this guy is saying is that when you look at the history, he referred to it as apartheid, which is something that happened in like South Africa many years ago, when Nelson Mandela was imprisoned for like 27 years, and the indigenous people there, African people, didn't have any rights, They were basically inferior to the minority white population. So this is what this guy is trying to say. However, by saying what he said, to them, it's like, okay, you say that, but you totally ignoring what happened to these poor people, these people, like these young people who went to a dance and went to a music festival, and older people and people in the kibbutz and so forth, in the agricultural areas. People shouldn't expect their lives to end like that, When you go to a music festival, that ain't supposed to happen. That's like what happened in Las Vegas some years ago, when that guy was shooting from the hotel right across from the music festival, and I think he killed like 57 people and did a whole bunch of people when he did that stuff, So that's about the closest comparison I could think of, that people go to have a nice time. So that shouldn't be. And I think this guy, by making his comments like that and not giving it like the balance, you're supposed to be able to balance, like when you argue. If you're if you're a law student or you're a graduate and you're getting a job, you're supposed to have an argument. He didn't really have an argument. He had like a statement. I remember reading a book some years ago. I got at a books. It was one of those garage sale. I think it was out in California. It was in California, and I stopped by and I saw this book. It's called The Informed Argument. And in the informed argument, it teaches you how to argue. That when you argue, don't always take the side whereby this person is wrong, 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 wrong. You have to be able to point out and concede certain things that you agree with. And if you can do that, you can make a much more effective argument, because you can say, well, okay, here's where I agree with you. Here's where I don't agree with you. So at least you give the other person that respect, and they can see, well, yeah, he took this into consideration. He took certain points into consideration, instead of just saying, I'm just going to blast the whole thing and that's it. So apparently that's how this guy came across, and the law firm decided, oh, we're going to drop this guy. We rescind the offer. We're not going to go along with this anymore. And then NYU School of Law, they're saying, well, that's not us, This, whatever this guy said, does not reflect on us. Don't don't try to, put us in the same category. That's not us speaking. Those are his words only, not our words. And at the law school at NYU, we didn't teach him to think like that. So obviously he probably never read the informed argument. Maybe one day he might read the informed argument and learn something about how you argue, so you don't, necessarily piss people off, and give them an opportunity to say, yeah, I could see he agrees with me in certain points.